Welcome in to Trucker Talk Radio. You're on with J and J. I'm John. This is Justin. Carrie's in the background, taking care of us, feeding us some notes. How you doing, Justin?
Man, doing good, doing good. Glad to be back on this side of the U.S. for a while. How you been?
Yeah, good. It's been 2 weeks. This is the longest we've gone without having a show.
Yeah, there was no way I could do a show where I was at. I was staying in hotels, didn't have TV or internet, phone service or anything. So
Yeah, tell us about it. You were eating $12 organic salads there in Oregon, I'm sure. So tell us about the left side of the world.
yeah, it's different over there, I will say for sure. But it was a very great trip. I do think we did too much, but we
Yeah.
kind of give everybody a background. We flew into Fresno, started our trip there, rented a car, went to Sequoia National Park. Of course, my background is the lumber industry, so I'm fascinated with those trees. Spent the day there, stayed the night in the park.
Were you able to drive through the trees?
No, the tree that was in the Sequoia Park, it's gone. There was a couple that we could have probably went through in the redwoods, but they were private and you had to pay and sit in this line. And
Yeah.
I was done being in a car anyway. I was ready to get out after we did about 3,000 miles driving. But we went through the sequoias, went and seen the Sherman tree, which is humongous. I mean, words can't describe how big that tree is. And I thought I'd seen big trees, but nothing like that. And then we went up through Pebble Beach. And they have this 17-mile drive that kind of takes you through Pebble Beach's community and the golf course. Just beautiful homes, beautiful scenery. Got to see part of the Pebble Beach and Spyglass. My daughter loves seals, so we got to see seals on the rocks.
Yeah, I saw some pictures.
It's pretty incredible. It was. And then we made our way up through San Francisco. Did not stop except at the Golden Gate Bridge.
You didn't stop. You didn't get any digits in San Francisco.
Nope. I even told my daughter as we were driving through, how San Francisco's known for the hills going down, with the houses.
Yeah, it is beautiful. My dad said that was his favorite city up until they went loony.
It was pretty, but I made her say, when we stop at this red light, look to your right, take a picture. We ain't stopping. Because it was very well known throughout the whole city what they stood for. I mean, it was just thrown in your face, kind of like it always is. But the Golden Gate Bridge was beautiful. The water was actually really pretty. Got to see Alcatraz. Then we made our way up through the redwood country, up through the northern part of the state. Got to drive this little old one-lane road, dirt road up in the mountains through the redwoods. That to me was probably the most coolest thing we did. I mean, literally, you could stick your hands out of both sides of your car and you could touch a tree you were driving in between. But I did meet an idiot on that road driving a U-Haul. I'm not a U-Haul, but an RV with a Jeep behind him, and was getting mad at me saying I was in the way. I'm like, dude, you're not going to make it another 10 feet and you can't back out of here. So I don't know what happened to that idiot, but and then we I took her to a seal rescue place. My daughter overly enjoyed with that. Then we made our way through Oregon. Was very surprised how clean Oregon was, like with the buildings and stuff. I guess because it's new, not as old as we are here on this side of the country. But one thing that I'd like to go back to about California before I got into Oregon, and I talked to a lot of residents, not touristy people, because most of California, when you leave, realistically, you leave LA, it's not touristy. Even up there at the Redwoods, it was just a normal ocean town. I mean, there was nothing touristy about it. Really, we didn't get touristy until we got to Yellowstone. But it's $6 a gallon for diesel. And there was no factories, no really jobs, and it was major agriculture. And I would ask, like, how do y'all survive at $5 for unleaded gas?
Well, and most of the state that's rural is all red. I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
It is. That's what they were. I didn't talk to a single Democrat, and I talked to, I don't know, at least 100 people through the time I was going through there, and I never spoke to a Democrat. But when we got to Oregon, was very surprised of how pretty Crater Lake was. That's an unknown, really, national park. It was beautiful. But one thing that really stood out to me was driving through Idaho. Never planned on ever going through Idaho. Probably never go back, to be honest. But
It's beautiful over there. A lot of the conservatives are actually moving. When they're moving out of California, Idaho and Montana are the hot spots.
they are. The growth in Idaho was unreal, and it was all new construction, very little old beat down anything. No, not even a lot of single and double wide trailers. It was all legitimate, nice communities being built, which exactly what you said. They're just trying to get out. But I did talk to a few locals when we stopped in Boise to eat, and they were talking about how a lot of Democrats were coming and they were getting worried that it was going to change their structure. But we went through there, went and spent a couple days at Yellowstone. I will tell you, anybody, and I've been all over the world. I've been blessed. I've traveled to many other countries and continents. There's not much that tops Yellowstone. It was beautiful. I drove every single mile. My daughter, as y'all all know, can't walk very well, can't, because of her plantar fasciitis. So we drove the whole park. We did some of the small walks, but none of the major trails. Did a horse ride through the canyon there. But I'm telling you, there's not much that can top the beauty, the difference. And you can drive 5 miles and it looks totally different. And then just
Man,
being,
and then you see the buffalo
yes,
crossing the roads. It's
yeah,
incredible. Those
we
buffalo
seen
are massive.
massive, and we got within 5 feet of them sometimes. I mean, it was crazy, and we were lucky. We had 4 crossings with them crossing us, and then probably the prettiest thing I seen. And I have Indian heritage. I'm a very small amount of Cherokee, but I am Cherokee, and we come across over a mountain onto the plains, and we seen probably 1,000 bison. Just knowing where the buffalo had went when the government just basically killed every one of them. I think they were down to a couple hundred. It was something to see that many, and those guys, man, they just laid back, don't care. They just sit, do what they want. They don't pay attention to anybody driving by. Then we ended up going through Bozeman. Bozeman was beautiful. A lot of clean buildings. It's not an old corral like you would think. It was all built up nice. But I was disappointed in one thing, and I know I told y'all about this in a text message while I was there. Was just very disappointed in the amount of foreigners that were at these places versus the amount of Americans. And I'm guilty. I've been to the beach 1,000 times. I'm from the beach. I grew up there some. I love the beach, and that's where most Americans seem to go. But I've been to a couple places the last couple of years, and to see the beauty that we've got here in the country and not see Americans. I seen there was a lot of Japanese, Chinese, a lot of Germans. And I know the truck drivers out there know about it. They've drove out there to see the beauty. But any of our listeners that are not tied to the trucking, that don't have an opportunity to get out west, between that and the Grand Canyon, uh, there's some beautiful things to see that you can see in the country that you don't have to leave. Like there's no Yellowstone anywhere else in the world. There's no Grand Canyon in another country. I've had the pleasure of seeing, the Great Wall, Tiananmen Square, things of that nature, and it just doesn't compare to that. So I would just express to anybody, it's well worth it. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but it was. It's just
And it's
totally
peaceful
different.
out there, right?
It
It's
is. It
peaceful
is. It is. You
compared
don't
to
have
the hustle that goes on and where we're at. It's
it.
so beautiful.
It is. I was telling Carrie before we came on that was really the first trip that I've ever had vacation that I could actually put my phone away because I didn't have a choice. There just wasn't any cell service. So, and that was nice. I needed that. I've always worked on my vacations, and I still work some. But when I got to Yellowstone, it was over. But I did see a couple things in trucking while we were out there that I was very interested in and seeing and never seen before. I noticed that there wasn't as many truck stops. Even on the interstates, the regular U.S. highways, there was none. Where I live not that far from Two Loves, and I don't live in no major metropolis, but they're on a U.S. main highway. There was none of that, but there was very few on the interstates. Uh, you know, here in Tennessee, you can go every 5 miles and you're going to hit one of the 4 major truck stops, just about.
They don't believe in diesel out west. They think you should pull the trailer with a bike.
Exactly. And then another point to that, 2 things that I seen that you will not see on this side of the Mississippi, and I don't know if it might not start till after the Rockies. I seen several trucks pulling 3 pup trailers, which are those 20-foot little vans.
Yeah, you said that. That's incredible. I've never seen 3 pups.
Never. And then I seen several trucks pulling 2 53-footers back to back, just like you would see a regular 2 pup trailer. And of course, I came across that one. The one of them, I got around him as about as fast as I could, because I'm just thinking.
I can't imagine that thing going around a curb.
Yeah, I know. And I guess, you think about it out west, it's just straight. Like I remember I wanted to take a picture, but my daughter was asleep. We were on, I don't even remember what interstate, but it was in before we get into Idaho, so it was in Oregon. And you could just see like 100 miles ahead of you, and you just seen the mountains. And you were just driving towards it. I mean, it was just straight as it could be. So it makes sense how you can get away with it. I mean, you couldn't. There's a curve about every 10 miles, a good major curve in the east of Mississippi. Which my daughter kind of asked me about it. I kind of gave it to her like this. I'm like, communities were built before roads out east. Once we started moving west as a country, roads were were more built, and everybody was more spread out. There's no way you could build, interstates or anything like that. This side of the country is just too overpopulated. But very beautiful country, totally different than anything we have over here. California, I will say, was just, I don't know. They're just not in America. I mean, it's just not. I mean, I will be honest. Even the north part, and I've been to Los Angeles. I'll never go back. I have no desire to go to L.A. It's, I mean, just like even the Hollywood sign, or what's the high dollar road, Beverly Hills. You're right next to the hood. I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, if you walk down the stars or see the theater, you make a wrong walk.
Yeah, man, Chinese. It is dangerous down there.
Yes, yeah, and I've been to San Diego, and it's beautiful and all, but
I heard even San Diego, they've ruined it.
They have.
I remember going there years ago. It was gorgeous, but I've here recently, it's not the same.
But it's just weird. You go to the north part, which is seems like a different world than the southern part. But I don't know how those people survive. Like, we stayed in this town called Crescent City. Should be a tourist town. It's right on the Pacific. I didn't see anything there. Not a single factory or any way to make a living unless you was on a boat fishing. But they've got the same problems we do. They got nobody that wants to work. The restaurants were all short staffed. So that's no different on that side. But it was a great time. I enjoyed spending that time with my daughter. I appreciate you and Carrie both holding down the fort while I was gone, but it got me refreshed for this new big push starting. Well, as Carrie told me, it get busy.
She's starting to work, isn't she?
That's right. She don't realize it, but she ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. We were a little slow just because it's mid-July, late July. Yeah. So, but you were missed, and I'm glad you got home safe. We do need to say something about. Did you hear Hulk Hogan just died?
I did. I was going to say
home
something
here in Clearwater. So really sad, surprising. I guess he's been dealing with some heart issues. Mm-hmm. His family denied that he was in a coma.
Yeah, I seen that.
I guess a couple weeks ago, but yeah, evidently he's been battling something. So he passed away, and then Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo Huxtable. Did you see how he died out in Mexico? He was in a rip current, and a surfer saw him and his daughter struggling out in the water. The surfer, thank God, got the daughter in. They got him in. They couldn't revive him. Those rip currents are.
You got to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. Yep, I know. I actually made a rescue out in Flagler Beach, on the East Coast, just north of Daytona. I used to be a lifeguard actually in Hilton Head in my college days, but I was out at Flagler Beach, and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to take the surfboard out and just lay on it. I can't surf. I don't have the balance to surf, so I just go out there and lay on it like a big whale. And went out there, and I see this girl, like she's she's like, right at the water line is right at her chin, and she's
Hmm.
struggling. Her friend is screaming. So I sprint out there as fast as I can. Board is just flying in the air because it's attached to my ankle. And by the time I get out there, I'm worn out. I'm dead.
Oh yeah.
And then but I get her up on the board after she clawed the crap out of me, pushing me down, trying to get up on the board. And by that time I was just spent. And then we got caught in another rip current. And then so we had to swim parallel. And I mean, I'm just beat by that point. So you just got to kind of take it easy at that point. Luckily I had the board with me so I could,
Rest
hang on to it. But yeah, it's nothing to mess with.
No.
That's why I tell my kids, stay in front of me, and if you find yourself getting taken out and you can't make it back in, you got to swim parallel with the shoreline.
You'll get back with it. Everybody panics and just
Everybody
wears
panics.
And then I seen where they always say celebrities goes in threes.
Yeah,
and,
Ozzy.
Yep.
Ozzy.
It's crazy. I did see with Hulk, I'd seen something with him where he was really complaining over the last couple weeks. I guess it's that beer that he All American beer or whatever he started. That his, I guess, investors or whoever had really been pushing him hard the last couple months about promoting it and going from city to city and different things. And they showed a picture of him in an interview. You could tell he was just plumb wore out. I mean, I couldn't imagine flying from this city to that city in my 70s. It just flying back from California wore me out. So I could only imagine, 10 cities in 2 weeks or something, and what they were doing. So a lot of Saturday nights watching him. So it was.
Yeah, he really made WWE what it was. I mean, he put it on the map, and he made it the sport that it is today. I guess it's or WWF at that point,
Back
right?
then, yeah.
And then now it's WWE. But he really put it on the map and made it fun to watch. And you don't understand what those guys go through just for the training and the and a lot of those guys get hurt. Like, even though it is a it's dramatic event and a lot of it is fake, but still to be able to get up on those wires, stand up there and do flips on guys, you're still doing some incredible stuff. And you got to look the part too, right? You got to, your body's got to be well trained to be in there. So
well, and two, nowadays I think a lot of it is who you're fighting with, who your partner is in that match. Your person you're fighting has to know what the hell they're doing, because that's how they get hurt a lot of times. Is like, I watched a women's match a couple weeks ago. This woman jumped clear across the whole, seemed like the whole damn place. And luckily 2 of them out of 6 of them caught her. Well, if nobody would have caught her, she'd have hit concrete 30 feet away, so you really got to have people there. And I've seen the wrestling match. I think it was WrestleMania 3, his big moment with Andre the Giant. I've seen it probably 100 times on social media today, where he picked him up and body slammed him. And that seems to be the big lasting video of him in his wrestling days. That was what, 30 years ago, I guess, or something.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sports, while we're in here, might as well talk about this. So Disney just took over NFL Red Zone and the NFL Network. So they laid off staff for their poor ratings, their poor decisions when it comes to the Disney Channel and Disney Plus, and then now they're taking over the NFL. So it should be interesting. Although I love Red Zone. That's what I watch. That's what I tune into. You get to see I wish most sports would have, their own kind of, red zone that we could tune into. It makes it so much more enjoyable. I mean, because so much of the game doesn't matter. It's those scoring opportunities that you really want to tune into, and then you just you can watch one screen and catch it all.
I think baseball would do wonders with that.
Yeah,
because baseball,
hockey would be a little difficult.
NBA would be too. But now I read a little bit on this media deal. Now, I think it's a game changer. It's been what I've been waiting on. This is going to make me not have to have any type of live TV anymore.
Yeah, ESPN is the new streaming service, right? I mean, that's the new hot streaming service. So I mean, other than your news channels, which I watch much less than I ever used to.
Well, you can get your local news now on almost every station has a channel that's because they use it for the weather, right?
And X is showing all the hot spots. So like,
Yep.
all the hot takes. So you can tune into X. To be honest, I've been on Facebook watching Facebook reels of Charlie Kirk go at libtards.
Yep.
More than anything else. That's the
right.
most entertaining thing out there.
But you think about it, they're talking about maybe doing this new streaming service app for ESPN with NFL included for like $29 to $39 a month.
I mean,
I'll pay for that.
Why pay for cable? You can get all the sports. You can get college basketball. You can get college football on there. Yep. College football is the next thing that they need to do on Saturdays. I don't know why college football doesn't have their own version of Red Zone. That makes total sense. And the games are pretty much all at the same time. I mean, they're definitely going to be games that you don't care about, but that's the whole beauty of Red Zone is that the games you don't care about, at least you get to see the scoring drives and, when they're in the red zone.
And one thing good about Red Zone, like for me, instance, I get a lot of Titan games, and that's what I have to watch on CBS or whatever. Well, I don't want to have to go and pay that live TV with Julia. All right, that's like $85 a month. So I can get rid of that. Yeah, I'll pay $30 a month, $40 a month for sports. That's really all I watch on regular cable network anyway. But if you've got that Red Zone, like it with the Titans, I could care less about watching the Titans. Are terrible.
That's all my son wants to watch. He just wants to see the Titans.
Oh my Lord, I feel sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you watch that.
I mean, I totally understand that the quarterback's there from Kentucky and all that, but
he doesn't even care about that. He doesn't. Yeah, he's out, isn't he?
Yeah, he's out now. Yeah. But I live 2 hours from the stadium and won't even go watch him. It's a train wreck. So
he just likes them to be difficult.
Oh, he
doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be a Cincinnati fan, which is the best time in the world to be a Cincinnati fan. He doesn't want to be a Bucks fan. It's one of the best times to be a Bucks fan, and you want to go cheer on the Titans and close yourself off in a room to watch Titans game. It makes zero sense.
So when you're in this network situation, you can't watch many games. And so it's great to have that. But you're right on the college side because it's hard unless you got 3 or 4 TVs. Like, what is it, 12 o'clock? You at 11 o'clock, you got a bunch of games, a bunch at 2:30, a bunch at 12, and 3:30. You can't watch them all. So if you could just flick back and forth, because like for me instantly, whatever time the Gators come on, I'm not watching anything else.
Nobody's watching the Gators anyway.
I know. Yeah, we're going to hopefully surprise people this year. But, so you watch it, and then when it's not on, I try to keep up, any of the biggest SEC game. Well, if I could just sit there and watch the scoring or a big play, defensive play, and could just see it, I could watch and keep up with so much more of the atmosphere of college football, which I even heard today they're talking about expansion again in the SEC. So we'll bring that up on another episode. But
wait, who? I didn't hear about this. Let's go ahead and bring it up now.
Yeah, supposedly North Carolina is trying to talk SEC of taking them before, because in another couple of years, it goes from 93 million to 73 million or something in a buyout. And but the only problem with that truly is going to be is I think that will ruin.
So is that because of Belichick? You think that UNC is putting its name in that?
It could be. Which
I gotcha. That's
I don't know. I've always thought an SEC
that's
expansion,
like as ludicrous as Kentucky leaving the SEC to go to ACC for basketball. I mean,
right.
They talked about that years ago. Now there's no way with the SEC the way it is, and the money that they get, there's no way that they'd ever consider that. But that's just crazy. And you're only going to have then by the time it's all said and done, you're only going to have a couple of conferences.
Yeah, I think you're going to have 2. I truly do. I think they will break away and do away with the NCAA, and they'll start their own thing. And I think they'll do it.
I think the NCAA is going away sooner than later.
I do too. And it wouldn't surprise me if the NFL don't get involved with the college and do some kind of partnership. And they're going to have 2 conferences just like the NFL, and it's going to be ran just like the NFL, in my opinion.
if UNC goes to the SEC, man, that is going to piss off the people at Duke and Florida State. Florida State wanted in the SEC for a long time, and they've ruined that with the way they handle things.
Yeah, and I don't think SEC will take either one of the Florida schools. I don't think they'd take Miami, or I don't know what happens to them. I think Miami could probably go to the Big Ten because they're getting that AAU status. Florida State, I'm afraid Florida State might disappear when it's all said and done. I really
maybe they're
do.
like Notre Dame. Maybe they're just
they
maybe they hang out like Notre Dame.
Well, they used to be. They used to be in the Metro Conference in basketball in the 80s, and they were independent, when Bobby Bowden first got there. But I've always thought with the SEC, in my opinion, Virginia or Virginia Tech is more lucrative than North Carolina because
I bet that I would think they'd go to Big Ten.
Well, one of them's going to come because both conferences are going to want that DC market, television market. It's a very large market, and so I think one of them will both go one to the other. But it would break my heart for North Carolina and Duke not to stay together. It's kind of like Michigan, Ohio State. That's just a tradition to watch them play a sport, which I think a lot of this tradition stuff's going to completely fall apart.
I mean, as much as I despise UNC and Duke, it would break my heart to see the ACC go away. I mean, that's.
But it seems that way. It seems the Big 12 is going to make it for now, and the ACC.
I mean, at this point, just do away with all conferences. Just do away with them all. Put them all under one league, and have divisions, kind of like the NFL, and just and then what do you do with the mid-major schools though? Do you include them in there and they just get their asses kicked?
No, I mean, realistically, I think they should already, the Power Four, the Power Five, whatever the non-conference is, the smaller, they should have their own champion. They shouldn't even try to worry. They should just make that Division One and then call the other three
like Division 1A or something like that.
They should, and just because those smaller schools could do just like Division Two, have the tournament, go to different. They would make money. People would still.
They get their own. That's still good. That's good. Good athletics. That's good. That's good football. I mean, you got schools like a Marshall. You got schools like an Ohio University.
Well, I'll give you an example. University of Memphis just offered the Big 12 $200 million to join the conference. Now, Memphis is not a bad school in several ways. They're in SEC country, so you get that notability in the country. Their basketball programs,
basketball program's solid, yes, but are they a power four?
Their football team is usually one of the 5 best non-power fives, and their coaches are wherever their coach gets taken every 4 years to a bigger school. So their program's good enough. It's good as some of them in the Big 12 now. Big 12 wouldn't even talk to them about it. At $200 million handed to them. And they even had a deal a couple years ago where FedEx was going to throw in money and be like the title sponsor and all that if they'd take Memphis. So to me, you take that $200 million, you go build a new, smaller stadium because the Liberty Bowl is about as old as it's as old as the actual Liberty Bell. I mean, it's old. And build a nice off-campus facility and play and get this money from, because you could still get. So if the SEC takes everything, all right, and then you have this Division 1A with, Marshall and Memphis and, Fresno State, all these, and some of the Big 12s, because they're going to have to go back down and not move in with the big ones. You're going to have the Fox Sports. You're going to have NBC Peacock. You're going to have CBS that's still going to want to put games on. And people are going to watch those games. I mean, they are. I mean, Division
Two. Are.
Yeah, I mean, South Dakota, is it North Dakota that's the power in D2? They're a powerhouse. They're out in the middle of nowhere, but they always get people. There's people that follow you. People that go to college or into college sports, they're followers. They're almost like NASCAR. They're very well to the brand. If your NASCAR drivers is driving or sponsored by Coke, NASCAR people drink Coke. If they're on Pepsi, they're big time Pepsi. It's the same thing with college. If you're just like You bleed blue and white. I bleed orange and blue. We try to stay to that, or we're in the SEC. We're supported. And so that's in every conference. Big Sky, American Conference. Whatever it is, people are going to watch that. Now you might not get the national audience, but you sometimes you can't compete on the national level for stuff. But if you can get, what is it, the like I think they can't do it now, but like the Civil War that was Utah and Utah State. Didn't nobody in the SEC care about that. But you get the state of Utah and the surrounding states and the out west, that was a huge matchup every year. They hated each other.
Well, and even those rival matchups, it doesn't really matter who they are. If it's a competitive matchup and they're rivals, people are going to tune in regardless. Mm-hmm. Now, I do have a question about is FedEx, you live in Memphis, is FedEx like a big contributor to Memphis's NIL budget?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how much, but yeah, they are. Now, that might change some now since Fred Smith just died. I don't know who's all in charge, but yeah, I mean, honestly, anything Memphis, FedEx has always been a huge part of.
I'll tell you something I tuned into. Well, Kentucky's got a team, so I'm tuning in. But the TBT, the basketball tournament, have you heard of it? It's on FS1, so it's a lot of alumni teams, and these are all guys that have played either former pros or they played overseas, but most of them are alumni of the school. So like Kentucky has a team called La Familia. Now they just lost I believe it was to a Baylor team. I'm not sure, but I forget the name of the team. But anyway, it was competitive basketball. And then they have this ending. It's called the Elam ending. So when there's like 3.5 minutes left at the next timeout, if it's like 70 to 60, let's just say, they raise the score by 8 points, and they say whoever's the first team to 78 in that scenario, whoever's the first team to 78 wins. So, and there's no time limit. So it makes it super competitive. So because you start playing differently, you're not playing to hold the ball, you're not playing to drain the clock. You're playing to get to that number, and it puts pressure on those shooters. And Kentucky actually lost. They were up. La Familia was up by like 6 when the Elam ending started, and then they ended up losing because they missed free throws.
And 2, it probably makes the end of the game more exciting, even in basketball, the final shot to win at the buzzer. But the problem with basketball is there's 1,000 timeouts at the end of the game. So if it would eliminate that some, that would help, because that's the worst thing about basketball is they, wanting to advance the ball and timeout for this, and it just gets old after a little bit. So I'll check that out. That's that's actually a pretty good idea. That'd be better than
I think they're in the semifinals either tonight or tomorrow. So it's on FS1 or Fox. So it's cool to watch the ending of a game.
You'd be surprised. A friend of mine's daughter is a high D1 recruit. She'll be a sophomore this year. She's got like 10 or 12 D1 offers already. I've seen videos. They were playing in a Nike tournament or something in Las Vegas this past weekend.
It's amazing how much influence like Nike, Puma, Adidas have. Actually, Reebok, Shaq just bought with a group. He bought Reebok.
He's got a show.
Yeah, he's got a show on Netflix, and he's going after WNBA players and college women and seniors in high school. He's going after them for sponsorship. He wants to be number 2 behind Nike. Yeah. So that'd be interesting. I used to love Reebok.
Man, you had to pump it up.
That's right. The pumps. Yeah, those came out. It was like 89 or 90 that came out with the pumps. I love those. Pump it up. I had to have it.
Now, have you heard what Nike's doing? Nike is actually, I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not, because you can't believe half the stuff you've seen, but I did see 3 or 4 different articles, so it might be. But supposedly, they are opening up Nike Universe in Beaverton, Oregon. It's going to be a athletic college only. You're not going to get a degree, all these different degrees, but it's going to be a pure based NIL college.
I bet most schools, they say if you don't want a degree, I mean, with this NIL out, I mean, the the days of like being a student athlete are pretty much over across the board.
Mm-hmm.
These
Now,
NIL budgets are just
they're
insane.
ridiculous.
It was never meant to be this way. It was,
Mm-mm.
you know, it was meant that if you had a booster that paid you $100,000 or gave you a bag of money, now that became legal. Or if you wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
advertising for a car dealership, or
And they
if you
gave you a
wanted
car,
they
yeah.
gave you a car.
Mm-hmm.
They may have helped your parents out with, some rent or something like that. They may have helped you out with food, because food was a big deal. It used to be like,
Yeah.
that used to be restricted. I remember John Calipari making a big deal when he was actually at Memphis, made a big deal about the food, and not having 100% access to it and not being able to feed the kids the way he needed to. And that's what it was meant to cover, not have these, like, essentially there's no cap. I mean, where does it end? And then the problem is that you get these guys transferring all 4 years because they're transferring from one school to the next. And I don't blame them. They're transferring to get the better contract.
Yeah.
But you should say, like, you can make a move once. Like if something happens done with the school once, you can make that move, but then you got to stay where you're at, or you put these guys under contract. That the colleges need to get smart and say, okay, if you're going to get this massive deal, you're going to be here for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and I think that's what it'll have to get to. But you're talking about no degrees and stuff. Speaking of the University of Memphis, they just got put on some kind of probation because they had girls softball teams taking tests for the basketball team, and they got busted. I'm like, y'all couldn't just pay somebody that ain't even in the school per se to fix that to where, Lord, you spending it, because they have a pretty good size NIL budget for basketball, of course. And I had to laugh. I'm like, only Memphis would get busted like that. It's crazy.
All right. Well, let's get out of sports. Let's get into some political headlines a little bit. These reports that Trump's name is on the Epstein files. I wanted to get into this a little bit. I think they've been making a big deal about this, and it's really Pam Bondi's fault, kind of. I love Pam Bondi. She's a local here in Tampa. She's done great things for the city, but she kind of opened up a can of worms, saying that she was going to release these files, and then all of a sudden she stopped. And my thing is like, look, if there was something against Trump that were really bad, number one, there's someone coming forward. There's someone coming forward, or it would have come out. It would have come out a long time ago. I don't have any doubt that he was on a plane with Epstein. He was probably on there with multiple beautiful women. But if there was some underage teenager, and she did something with Trump that was going to implicate him, it would have come out in 2016. It would have come out last year. His name may be on it, and that's going to look bad, but I'm sure Bill Clinton's on it. I'm sure every freaking celebrity is on there.
The way things are now about vetting and how the Democrats over vet and just make up stuff, they would have been enough came out to really spurn an investigation a long time ago with his name in it. So now the Democrats, they just want to try to find anything to mud the water, make people think twice, which we speak on here all the time. I have no clue why they can't just move forward, come up with a vision, and try to fix their party. But that's just too common sense wise.
No, because they just hate Trump. They want to see Trump's name on that list, and they want to see that he was with some 14-year-old girl.
But they all know it's probably not true because they would have found it. There was no way they. I mean, 100%. the way things are now, there's somebody that's been on that plane that's seen it, would have come out and said, "Hey, pay me, I'll do a tell-all story on 2020 or whatever." But it's just something else that they try to spin to. I don't really know why they keep doing it, because them bashing and hating Trump's not helped them or fixed anything. So
have you heard them come out? Have you heard, other than hating Trump, and hating his policies and saying that he hasn't accomplished anything. Have you heard them come out once with a solid idea? Even when this bill came out, this big, beautiful bill, and I'm not saying that it was perfect. It wasn't perfect. But they had nothing better except to just squash it. That's all they wanted to do. And they did not want to see Trump get that through on July 4th. They said that was impossible.
Well, I'm going to give you something that I know personally that shows Democrat. Just take Trump out. Let's go to lower politics, state level politics, okay? And this is how the Democrats think. And I'm sorry, if you're a Democrat, you need to look yourself in the mirror. So I've got a friend of mine, a high school friend, that is a state representative in the state of Texas. Okay, we had the floods, right? That killed all those campers and all that around San Antonio.
God rest their souls.
She is ex-military. So you know how military people are. They see a mission, they jump on it and they do it. So she gets her group together. She heads down. She gets a lot of retired vets to go with her. They want to start doing rescues. She found some divers to help dive. She started organizing food drives, anything she could do to help that community, because it wasn't her community. I think she was next to it. It wasn't her district, and it might have been her district. I'm not 100% sure. People were bashing her left and right, saying that she had no business out there. No one needed her. No one asked her to come. And she's like, I'm an elected official. This is my state. All I'm trying to do is help. There's not enough help here. And Democrats were, and she had people on the Democrat, and she's Democrat, and she had people on the Democrat side just shut her off. And I'm like, who cares if you're Republican or Democrat in a time of need? Get out there, organize, do what's right, do unto others as you want to. It's the simplest thing you can live by. And I'm just thinking, how in the world, on something of that level that the Democrats can't even get on the same page for, how can you ever expect them on a national stage where it affects everybody, not just a little small community? They just have no direction. I mean, it is sad that we only have two parties, and that's the only other part. And I'm not a fan of this Elon.
Now, are you a fan of this party. Elon? No, are you?
No.
What's he call it? The American Party?
It's a Democrat elected party is what it is, because all that's going to do elect the Democrats. You're going to get enough people, and I'm almost as much independent as I am Republican. I'm not the biggest person on politics. I'm more just straight common sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Do it. I don't need 1,000 people to tell me, yeah, you got to get approval to do something. If it makes sense, do it. And that's why I like Trump. Trump don't listen to the bullshit. He just does it. And
he just does it.
And that's what it should
be. And what you see, if you really look at it, he's doing exactly the things that the Democrats wanted to do years ago under Obama and Clinton.
But back to your point that you were asking, I've not seen the Democrats do any legislation in the last 2 years before even Biden left. It was all about, soon as Trump said he was running again, it like everything turned to Trump instead of the country. And that's why, another reason why we got in such bad shape. But it sure is funny. We got all this surplus, and
now we got to turn the conversation to Obama.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Russiagate. What happened with that? Russiagate. We all knew it happened. We all knew it went down like this. We all knew that they just fabricated all this bullshit. All of it. So Obama doesn't get the briefing, or he gets the briefing on December 8th saying that there's no collusion. There's nothing that Russia did to interfere with the election. And then all of a sudden that briefing doesn't come out. And one thing I can't figure out is, how does Trump not realize at that time that the briefing didn't come out? Or maybe he wasn't even looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then December 9th, all of a sudden, it comes out that, the intelligence has found that, Russia was heavily involved. Just a freaking fiasco. I mean, it's an absolute joke. I just don't get how these people can get away with this.
It's amazing to me that we're such a large country and powerful country that, and I mean, pretty much, I guess, for the entirety of our country, we've been far apart per se. We've got the, north, south, you know, and all that through the years of starting up, and then it's never really ever came together. But I believe we're as far apart now as we were during the North and South
Well,
time.
what Trump is exposing is that we've had, these banana republic politics dressed up as national security. It's ridiculous. I mean, these things that the left is able to get, and really, like, so many people in politics are able to get away with no repercussions, and just flat out lie to the American public.
Yep.
The corruption is real, and I hope that Tulsi Gabbard, I hope that the DOJ will do something to go after these assholes. I mean, it is treasonous, and people go back and forth on this. It is treasonous because they basically handcuffed Trump for the first year of his presidency.
Most definitely.
He really couldn't do anything. It was nothing but Russia.
Yep, most definitely. And thinking into the future, I think Trump will get a lot more things exposed, get a lot of things done the next couple of years. But I already sit here and wonder what in the world's going to happen in a couple of years when he's not there. Can we get somebody to keep doing what he's truly doing? Is there somebody there? I don't know if there's somebody out there, that can withstand what Trump has had to endure over these past 10 years or whatever to keep the momentum going. I mean, JD Vance can come in and keep the ship, but he's not self-made, gazillionaire, billionaire to not really per se care completely. At some point we're going to get back to some normal politics to where, yeah, this guy's got me in his back pocket. What do I got to do enough to keep that person happy so I can stay in office. And I worry more about that, I think, now than anything, is just what's the next president look like? Because this is the type of president we've needed for quite a long time. And if he'd have been Democrat, I wouldn't have cared. As long as he's doing what he's doing, I care what you call yourself at that point.
I don't care if a Democrat's elected, but you better be center. You better be. You can even be center left. But if we elect, I mean, who's the New York guy that the New York mayor is? They're looking at bringing him on, Mondani or whatever his name is. Have you seen the socialist? Just amazing that people are even considering that.
The left's so far from what it used to be. They have no clue. They're not even what they used to be. Democrats. They're just not. It's not even the same part. It's not the same party that Bill Clinton was elected.
No, they're for LGBTQ. They're for DEI. They're for free buses. They're for free rent. They're for extremely high minimum wage that businesses can't afford. They're for extremely high taxes. Tax the rich. This Mondani or what he's gonna tax the rich right out of New York.
I mean, tax is a bad thing. I'm not a fan of tax because it always gets me good. But it's not the tax is the issue.
Well, yeah, and the tax code is built for the rich. Yes. The tax code is built for the rich to
get out of paying. It's not
to take advantage. Take advantage. Yeah. Like Trump said when he was campaigning in 2016, he said, I just follow the tax code. Of course, I try and pay the least amount of taxes I possibly can. Who wouldn't?
I can't be mad at somebody doing the same thing that I do. I mean, he just got a lot more of it than I have to do with. So, I mean, that's to me just common sense. Yeah, it's there. Take advantage of it. Now, of course, I could see, I guess, if you're in the lower, poverty and you don't have the opportunities for that. But still,
they do have the opportunities. We have so many social systems in place for these people to get up on their feet, go find work. We've got a decent welfare system, and they just want this new generation just wants more and more and more free shit.
And two, the big problem is you can go and get a $500 check weekly from the government. Okay. You can go to work at McDonald's, maybe make $300.
Tell you, so
or
in Florida, I'll
600.
tell you this. So you can get Section 8 coupon. You know how much the Section 8 housing coupon is in Florida?
How much?
$3,000 a month. $3,000 a month.
Well, they gonna live
That's
on the
more
beach.
than, yeah, $3,000 a month. It's insane. I couldn't believe it, because what they're doing is they're taking, like, next to these nice housing developments and subdivisions, they're putting in slightly smaller houses. They're still, more than 2,000 square feet. They're still 4-bedroom, 2-bath. They're brand new. People are buying them, and they're turning them into Section 8 housing because the housing coupons take care of it.
I guarantee you, that's the easiest way to get you money. Know it's coming every month.
Said, how can I get on Section
8? Yeah.
But I don't want to hear that you cannot make your way. This is why America is such a great country, because you can find a way to gain some success, but you have to work. You have to work. You have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. You have to follow through. And I mean, anyone can go out and start a business. It's the best country in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I watch a lot of history shows, right, of us coming over and starting a country, moving west. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of British that came here that had money when they came. They came with money. But you think about it, I would say 70 for 5%. I'll spit it out here in a minute. Of the rich Americans now, their ancestors were dirt ass poor, living, not living in a house. They were living in a shack. They wasn't living in a mansion in, Philadelphia or New York. They were living in the slums. And they have grown and pushed and worked hard and kept going and kept going. Yeah, some of them got lucky and it was in the right place, the right time, or maybe their ancestors came up and made a lot of money and you inherited a lot of money. But I mean, no one had anything.
Some people just work their ass off. Some people just work their ass off. There is not one thing any person in this country can do that another person in this country can't do if they want to do it. It doesn't matter what your race is. It doesn't matter what your sex is, what your gender is. It doesn't matter. If you want to do something, some people may get a jump because they've got a connection with some money or something like that. But even Trump was given a couple $1 million or something like that. Whatever, even if it was a few million, he turned a few million into billions. That is not easy. I don't want to hear that he was given a handout.
And there's not even, people get mad at Trump for going bankrupt. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're a business person, there's a good chance that's going to happen at some point.
He's 70 years old, 75, 76?
Like it. Yeah.
And he's made billions of dollars. And anybody who says, well, he filed bankruptcy, I'm sorry. When you've made billions of dollars, you can now critique how Trump filed bankruptcy 7 times, or 11 times, whatever it is. It's part of you're exactly right. It's just like my brother, who's an attorney. The first time I was ever suing somebody or in a lawsuit, I forget which way it was. Either way, I won. But I was getting stressed out, and he's like, it's a cost of doing business. You're at a certain level. This is just what happens. It's a cost of doing business. Relax. Just understand that you're in a negotiation and you work through it.
It's just, and I think what the problem with Trump that people look at is he's all business. He's not political. And neither one of us are huge multimillionaire business people, but we've been in business for ourselves a long time. So while we can't understand $1 billion deal, $1 billion deal is not that much different from a $1,000 deal. It's just more numbers and maybe a little bit more to it, but the structure of the business is not any different. It's still this, that, and everything involved. So we understand his thinking, and I think that's a problem for a lot of Americans is they can't understand his thinking because they've never been around it. Because, there's not a lot of people that are entrepreneurs because, let's face it, being an entrepreneur is scary. If you're married and you got a family and you go home tonight and you tell your wife and your kids, hey, I'm quitting my $25 an hour job because I'm going to start I see people on TikTok all the time starting, t-shirt business, a hat business, engraving business, whatever. And I can make, more money. I can spend more time at home, which is a lie because you're not going to have more time if you're truly running your own business. You're using more of your hours, but you do get the freedoms and everything. That's tough because a lot of times, when I started my first business, my mother told me I was an idiot, that I was going to be broke because I left the family business and started my own. Well, I ended up having to support her and my father through a divorce. And I rubbed it in because, hey, they didn't think I could make it. And I had a 25-year long company. And, I didn't get rich by no means, but I made a good living. I could do what I wanted, and that was the freedom of it. But, people that are not around that, they don't understand the aura or the terminology or the mind thinking. And maybe that's why I connect with him a lot more. It's because I understand his thoughts, why he does, just like the tariffs. That was all negotiation to get to a
Look
certain
at him
point.
now. Look at him now. Just got a huge deal with Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Just got a huge deal.
Yeah. And it's all about, it's a lot of times stuff like that's playing chess. Where everybody in politics, in my opinion, it's an old saying is playing checkers. Man, he's playing chess. He's so far ahead of people. And it's because of his negotiation skills and business skills. But, we don't get taught that in school. I was never taught anything about business in school. I learned it through my generations of family and my father mainly. So, I got that knowledge and how to do things and looked and listened and watched as a kid and learned, the industry that I first got into. But most people don't get that, and for them, they just look at Trump as like, oh, it's just a lie, or he's not a good person. Just like with the tax codes and stuff. If you're not making a lot of money, you don't understand about how to get around paying this or doing that because why would you? There's no need.
I had buddies freak out when he announced the tariffs, and the stock market went down from like 42 to it touched 39, and everybody's freaking out like what, he doesn't know what he's doing. Well, now look at it, it's 44.
Yeah, 44, and
you're awfully quiet now. Mm-hmm. You're not panicking now.
Exactly.
You need to write him a thank you letter. So speaking of writing a thank you letter, Stephen Colbert needs to write a thank you letter, actually letting him stay on that long, taking a loss of $40 million. Can you believe it? That's $40 million, and he has a staff of 200 people. Staff of 200 people for the late night show. It's not even that Stephen Colbert is an asshole and he doesn't deserve to be on TV, but his audience numbers are way down. But that goes the same for Jimmy Fallon. His audience numbers are no good either. It's just late night television. Late night television isn't what it used to be. People don't watch it anymore like they did.
I'll sit and watch TikTok, X, Facebook.
I'm guilty of it too.
I'll do that before I turn TV on.
Scroll.
You get all the information.
Well, good riddance. I guess he's going to hang around. I don't know if I guess he's good until his contract goes through March. So they're even letting him stay on. He's making $20 million a year. I guess they're letting him stay on until March, which I can't figure that. I
don't either. Just throw a rerun on there or something.
All right. Well, we're running out of time. We're already over time. But why don't you do a little quick couple minutes on Ready App? Some good things coming out. Yep.
As if Carrie was still on there, she would tell you Ready App's doing its job. She's
working hard, isn't she?
Yeah. She said all I've done is talk to drivers today, so that's a great thing. But yeah, Ready App, it's growing. I believe we're getting the word out better. I see a lot of advertisement now. Everybody's been positive, with the response. We've got a couple new updates coming in, I think, at the end of the month. But it's ready-app.com. I know you hear us talk about it all the time, but it's a game changer. It really is. So basically, Ready App for you new listeners is a docu-station operation. So you go in, you go to ready-app.com. You go in, you start your profile. The profile is the most major thing, in my opinion, in the industry now, is this Ready App profile. Inside this profile, you can put in your CDL, your medical card, truck documents, truck pictures, insurance, Anything you need in trucking, there's a place for it. Not only for onboarding is what I'll get into, but to anything. If you're got your own authority and you need to talk with your insurance or to a factoring company or even the DOT app, DOT officer that pulls you over, you have all your documents in one click of a button right there for you to pull up for that person at any moment.
You're exactly right. Real quick, I'll jump in here real quick because I spoke with a driver about it and I was kind of helping guide him through, and he was kind of like, "This is a pain in the neck. This is a lot of extra work for nothing." And he's like, "Oh, I just fill out the 10th Street application, and then that's it, and most of it's filled out for me." And then he got done with it, and he's like, "Wait a second. I don't have to go looking for documents in my truck. I don't have to go home if I forgot a document. It's all in here for me. I only have to fill out the DOT application once, and I can go in and update it on my own time." He's like, "This is awesome." He's like, "All I have to do if I want to," he's like, "You have all these jobs listed on here. All I got to do is click a couple buttons and my application's sent. I don't have to go back in and, fill out the application and then go search for documents again." There's such a thing as application fatigue. And that's what Ready App tries to avoid.
And you make a great point. And what a lot of drivers out there and don't remember, they had to fill out 10th Street the first time from scratch. Any of these you got to do the first time. But the difference with us is everything is still there once you're done. You don't have to resubmit things. The worst thing you got to do if you get a whole application done with us in 6 months, you want a new job, all you literally have to do is go into your DOT application and update the past 6 months, either where you worked or you laid off or injured or whatever. You put that in there, you push submit, and you're completely done. So that's the huge game changer. Like I said, that profile is so important. Even if you're not looking for a job right now, that profile will help you for so much. But also in your profile is that DOT application. It's a standard DOT application. Literally, you can do the whole process 15, 20 minutes. Once you get that application completed, it's saved there. You can go back to it. Like he said, you can update it anytime you want to put whatever you need. We have over 100 jobs in our job section. You go in, you find a job, you can search it by carrier, you can search it by state, drive-in, flatbed, power only. We even got some lease purchase opportunities on there with our different customers. Once you click apply for a job that you like, you've yet to even speak to anybody at the carrier, recruiter, anything. You can push apply. It's going to send everything in your profile. It's going to send everything in that DOT application straight to the onboarder. That onboarder is going to receive it. The next business day, they're going to reach out to you, get you pre-approved, start working on your drug test, all this. Then you'll get to talk to somebody, of course, at that company, and they'll go through, make sure you're a good fit, they're a good fit, and you could be onboarded within 5 to 10 business days at the most, versus the national average of 27 days. So it's a game changer on that. If you need it for something else, your profile, like send it to another carrier or maybe an insurance company, there's a share button where you can share it directly to that person. Now, they would have to pay a small fee to receive that, but still, that's well worth that. Another great thing is once you get that done, we're going to keep up with you at the Ready App team. We're going to check in on you, make sure everything's going good after you're there. If you have any issues, we're going to always be there to help. But we're a huge staffing agency is what we're trying to be to make it right for the truck drivers and the owner operators, to put you in good places, to help you stay there long term, get you in the right place. And if you're not in the right place, we have an easy, simple way for you to find a new home that's a better fit and streamlined. Because let's face it, you're leaving a company because you're not making any money. And then when it takes you 3 to 4 weeks to get onboarded somewhere else, you're completely broke at that time and you're 2 months behind on your truck. But if you can get onboarded simply in 5 to 10 business days at a company, you're not going to lose but maybe a paycheck, 2 paychecks at the most, and it's streamlined. So that's our big focus. Now, of course, we work with carriers as well. We've got several package plans to help carriers grow. We can handle any size carrier that's out there. Uh, but we're drivers first mentality. We're going to take care of our drivers, make sure they're all taken care of in good spots, like I said. But we've got a couple new updates coming out. I'll let John speak on that a little bit more. He handles that side. But it's growing. We're getting our name out there. I think the more and more we get our name out there, drivers like the one John spoke about will be a little bit more comfortable, because there is a little bit to do in the beginning. But that's with anything good, right? There's always a little bit on the front end, and then it gets easier on the back end. But definitely go check it out. It's ready-app.com. Like I said, we've got over 100 jobs on there now. We'll probably be at 200 or 300 jobs in the next, I'd say 2 months. We'll have that many jobs on there all across the country. So if you look and go in, download it. But again, I can't say this enough. Even if you're not looking for a job, the profile is the heartbeat of the whole operation for your onboarding experience whenever you're ready to get a job.
Well said. Well said, Justin. Yeah. And we're all about relationships, right? While we are drivers first, like Justin said, that being drivers first means that we're focused on the driver and helping that driver build a relationship with the carrier they want to get on. We're helping them through the onboarding process. We're offering a white glove service. We're not just your normal application tracking system. We do more than that. We go the extra mile to make sure that the driver's happy, and in turn that will improve the relationship that carrier has with said driver. So go on, check it out, ready-app.com. Call Ready App with any questions. We're about to close up here. I can't go finish the show without mentioning the Kiss Cam. CEO gets busted on a 40-foot inch tall. He does the the HR director does the college wrestling spin move to go behind him, and he ducks, and it shouldn't have gotten to the level that it's gotten. I really feel for his wife. I feel for her husband.
Oh, most definitely.
I feel for them because
views or something.
Oh man, it went viral. I mean, and even their kids. I mean, the memes that are out there. It's been meme city. And they really have not let the foot off the gas. And I guess he's already done. He's already done at his company. He's out as CEO. I don't know about her. It's sad. I mean, she took a family picture, I guess, right before the concert with her husband and her 2 kids. And it's just, it's so unfortunate. Look, I mean, this stuff goes on. I mean, for people to, act all high and mighty, this kind of stuff goes on. But I mean, the way it went down, I mean, if they would have just stayed the way they are, or the way they were just holding each other, if they would have just stayed that way, nope. And I'm sure, like, being there, they knew they were going to see some friends. That's what they were really concerned about. Is they were each going to see some friends were going to see them and be like, oh, we saw you on the Kiss Cam with the HR director.
That's what I was thinking. If they would have just stayed, just in the same motion, and not done anything, most of the people in the arena probably wouldn't have paid attention to the big screen.
Coldplay only pointed it out when they ducked, and he was like, well, they're either camera shy or they're having an affair.
Yeah. And at least if they would have done that, and let's say one of their colleagues or friends seen it, it wouldn't have been blasted all over the internet. It would have been a heartfelt conversation that they would have had with the other member that wasn't involved, and they would have probably still be in a divorce or whatever.
Oh, yeah. They would have just come home and been like, I got a call from our friend Susie, and she ratted you out. Get the hell out of my house.
So at least the kids.
But that would have been the end. Yeah, at least I feel bad for the kids and the spouses. I mean, they're getting beat up, and they've already had they've had to change their Facebook accounts, I'm sure, and all their social media and stuff.
That meme's never leaving the internet. Those memes are there forever. So you're going to run into that the rest of your life. And people on the internet are cruel because they're keyboard warriors. And those kids are going to grow up and somebody's going to, throw it in their face 20 years from now. And then you got to rehash it again. So, I think they'd have been better off just to, and my opinion with that too, if you think you're big and bad enough to you can get away with it and you're that ballsy to do that in public area with you being,
he was there with other people in the company.
Yeah. So don't run
what are
when
you doing?
Get a camera. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're married. Your assistant or whoever was there, that lady that was standing beside him, she worked with him. I mean, you're out there in public for everyone to see.
I mean, I don't get it because I would be more worried about somebody in my inner circle at work tattling on me than I would be somebody seeing me on a jumbotron. That's what made no sense to me. But it's a bad deal all the way around.
Well, it reminded me to turn on some Coldplay. I like Coldplay, so it reminded me to turn on some of their music. So
that's right.
Coldplay is getting some good play on Spotify now. So
I bet
they're making some money. All right, well that's about all we got for today. I'm glad to finally get back on. It's been a little while, but we'll try and do 2 shows next week. Really appreciate everybody listening to us. Our listenership has still continued to rise. Really appreciate everyone listening, tuning in and supporting us. We are going to have some guests on. We're going to be making some changes hopefully soon to improve the show. And again, we want to hear from you. So if you have any suggestions, any ideas, anything that you want to hear, I know we want to get some drivers on. I know we want to get some trucking company executives on here to give us their opinions on things and answer some tough questions. So anybody or anything you want to see, let us know. We're here for you.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. We appreciate everybody. Appreciate the support. Looking forward to get, like I said, back into a routine. Just everybody, tune in, give us your thoughts. I'm always up for criticism. So give me your best shot and we'll do the best we can. And we appreciate everybody. Everybody have a good, safe evening. And the truck drivers out there, stay safe, keep between the lines.
Stay safe. Yep. Keep between the lines and keep your distance. Keep your distance. Take it slow.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.